What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with LordBambi. Castle level's an 18. So I'll jump into it pretty quickly on my archer here. Alright, let's see what he's got. You should train yourself to look at all of these chokes like this and look for springboard traps, because it's pretty common these days. And that's one of the biggest ways I see people die, is they just don't even realize that they're there. And then all of a sudden they get thrown into, a bunch of fire mines or anything else, like Zeke shots or anything like that. There's a springboard trap there. I find the Arctic one a little bit the easiest out of all of them to see, in my opinion. Just dodge behind here. Alright. So I'm not sure exactly. I guess the whole purpose behind this is if the person walks on this and doesn't notice, well, they're kind of supposed to get thrown inside of this jelly wall. I'm guessing that's the idea. Then they get hit by 2 ballistas and possibly a Zeke shot, which is pretty good in theory. I don't know. I think that as you level up more and more, people are going to recognize that there's a springboard trap here. And oftentimes, I mean, it's better to walk over these things because these things are always safe, regardless. I mean, this is kind of your safe zone, basically. When you see this as an attacker, so you should always walk over these whenever you can. So if people ignore the springboard trap and they just kind of walk around the jelly wall, I think the jelly wall makes it a little bit useless. The choice of mobs is fine. Zeeks are always good in my opinion, and then having one Defendatron on AoE is good as well. I think that's fine. I'm just, you're not really forcing the springboard trap to work often enough, I think. To make the jelly wall useful, because the jelly wall doesn't take up the entire pathway. Maybe a different choice of room would be best for that that group. All right, resurrecting Dr. Skulls are pretty good. Better before, like, as soon as you get them, they're really good, and then they start to lose their strength little by little over time, and then they start to actually gain their strength back towards the later levels. Alright, so I drop a volley there. So I don't think this is necessarily that bad. Pete Poundmores themselves, having multiple of them in a group, does make it so that they're pretty easy to single out now. They used to be a little bit harder back when, like, they made a change where only one Pete Poundmore will get a ticket. And then the other one used to stand pretty close, and you'd be able to hit them pretty often to force both of them to have a ticket at the same time. But now they stand a little bit farther back, so it's easier to single out just one Pete Poundmore. But that being said, it's not really all that bad to have Pete Poundmores. I wouldn't go up to 3 like I had in my Jelly Wall defense all that often anymore. Again, the room thing is like, maybe you can move this back slightly and then have another springboard trap here. But basically, because of the fact that, if I can show you, there we go. Because of the fact that I can pretty much step directly on the second one without even activating this one over here, this springboard trap is like kind of made useless because I don't actually ever have to step on it. It's never going to do anything if I go in from the side. So I really only have to leap over 2 springboard traps, which is pretty easy for an archer to do, or a mage to do, or a knight to do, as long as they have their charge ability. Alright, now here, I think I'm going to just kind of go towards the back of the castle and fight it from here. There's not all that much trap pressure back here, so it's easy for me to fight back here. The whole all in the boss room type technique doesn't really work anymore. Obviously, you're not doing that here. You have, things in the rest of your castle as well. I'm not sure exactly what you had here. It looked like maybe 3 Zeeks, a couple Defendatrons, and a Puppeteer or a Dr. Skull. I don't think a Dr. Skull here is all that good because, well, it's not bad, I guess. As you're cutting him through the castle, he could be resurrecting things. But I don't know. I tend to like to keep my boss room minimal while still being able to kill people with it. So, 3 Zeeks is good enough to kill someone. I don't know if you had 2 or 3, but either way, that number is pretty good. If you only have 2, you could think about maybe changing out a Dr. Skull. If those are Dr. Skulls, I think they're big enough to be Dr. Skulls. Switching out one of those, and then, if you can find 2 more points, throwing in another Zeke. I think 3 Zeeks is pretty good. Counts Nottingham, 1 or 2 Defendatrons, and then even if you could, find a way to get a few more points. You could even put in a couple ballista traps in the back here, and just add in a little bit more pressure. Even if you only have one ballista trap all the way down so that they're getting hit, like right around here you have another one, and then right towards the end you have another one. And then you'd have a lot more pressure in the boss room, which will lead to more kills. Because I think a lot of people are going to start fighting in the boss room rather than outside, and luring them through. You don't really have to anymore, because the hard cap kind of takes that threat away when you have a ton of creatures in the boss room like that. It's a lot easier to fight them. But yeah, we'll jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, next up we have HiImSeyden. Castle level's at 25, so it's going to be pretty difficult for me to get through, but I should be able to. I have looted level 20 up to level 26 castles so far, so I should be able to get through a 25, but we'll see how it's laid out. It really depends on, you know, the castle, whether it's going to be extremely hard or, you know, just decently hard. Alright, so it looks like we have some mines here. If I had to rerun this castle again for whatever reason, I'd probably find the big group of mobs and then lure them down this long tunnel. Because luring mobs down a tunnel like this, where you can see from extremely far away, makes it very easy to kill any monsters. Now that being said, there might be 0 mobs, or there might be a big long strip of spike traps that make it so that I can't pull things back through here. So it really depends on what I see going forward. And we have a couple spike traps, so it looks like that's going to be the case. So we're just going to kind of try to time this out so that I can step on here, and then, well, I didn't notice that. Again, wood background, best background for this. So now that I know it's up, there's going to be another springboard trap there, and then I'll wait around for this again. No springboard trap here, but there is some over here, so I need to get to this point. Little safe zone here, although there is one of those. Alright, and then I'm going to use a potion here. And I accidentally stepped on that. I mess up on these springboard traps on this castle all the time. If this was like any other castle, it would be so much easier for me to deal with this. But I just don't look for them, I don't know why. I need to get better about it. Springboard traps here. I'll step through the acid just to get over them easier. Maybe. Alright, I'm gonna have to use another potion. I'm taking too much sustained damage right now. I'm gonna have trouble towards the end of this castle. More springboard traps. There's one here, one here. This is laid out pretty well, though. It's forcing me to take a lot of damage that I don't want to take. I have one. Hold on, I'm gonna try to get through this without dying, but I think I might die right here. I'm trying to just make it to the boss room, which I've made it to now. But I used my last potion there. Basically, my thought is if I can get to the back of the boss room, I might survive this. Which I made it. Let's see if I can survive. I have no potions left, so I have to take very minimal damage against this boss, and also pick up health globes when I can. There's not many mobs in this castle, so it's basically a rush. This is close. A rush to the end of the boss room.
Is that all you got?
Alright, I managed to kill that. I just have to deal with this.
I need a medic.
There we go. I made it. I didn't get all of the mines, but I did make it through the castle. Really good, though. I mean, I used up all of my potions. That sort of spike trap is what I'm talking about, and really cleverly placed springboard traps to kind of you kind of look to see where you think the player will try to jump to get over the springboard, to get over the spike trap, and then put a springboard trap there. And on these wooden castles, a lot of times, even on any castle, but it's harder to spot on these ones, so it's harder to notice. But basically, I'm always watching this spike trap to see when which panel will be deactivated and try to time out my jumps properly so I don't take much damage. And then I end up stepping a little bit onto the wood thinking that I'm safe, and then I get thrown backwards. And that's sort of why those things work. I think for your castle specifically, if you had a few more mobs somewhere in it, just to make it a little bit more difficult once you get to the end of the boss room. Because, you know, as it is right now, I can actually skip fighting those mobs. It's probably correct for me to do that. And even if you want to have less mobs, maybe throwing in more Cyclopses to push you back onto spike traps might be a good idea. although they will take damage as well from the spike trap, so I'm not really sure. I guess the whole idea behind having a lot of mobs means that you'll, if the person does start to kite them away, then they'll end up taking damage from the spike traps themselves as well. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to be doing that when I do my level 24 castle, but it's going to be similar to this. I might do all traps, who knows. I may even add in, I don't know. I don't really know how I'm going to do it. I have thoughts, but I have to test it and do a lot of, playing my own castle to find out what's best. But yeah, we'll jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, lastly we have game ABC1. His castle level is a 20. So we're jumping into it here. Alright, so the spike traps on this level are quite a bit worse because they only have 2 active panels. It's a lot easier to just kind of move around them and not take damage. And because there's only 2, it's easier also to watch for these springboard traps. Also easier to kind of spot them on this castle tile. I need to change my castle tiles like a while ago. Like I'm going to do it as soon as I finish this video because I keep forgetting to do that, and it's definitely important that I do it. I don't know if the mouse wheel trap here is all that necessary. I'm not sure what it's trying to accomplish. I understand like there's a fire mine set up basically up here, but I think that you would do better with having a few more ballista traps rather than this mouse wheel trap. You want to have pressure on this side so that I can't kind of just like walk through it, because I can time this out and get at least partially up here, and I might not make it through this, but if I do, that's because I was able to get through to the side of the jelly wall, use a potion, and still have full health. So I might be able to survive it either way. I didn't have to necessarily use a potion there. I just wanted to because I might have been able to survive through it regardless, even if I made a mistake or something. But there we go. I made it through. Not too difficult. I could have also kited across it because there wasn't only 2 ballista traps. I could have tried to kite across it. Generally, I like doing the roll plus spiral shot instead. This one's much better. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult to actually get through. Time to beat is quite good as well. I'm not sure what you have for mobs in this castle, so if it's only running to the end, it's not as good, but it's still not bad. Like, if you take time to look around at this... Alright, I made it. Okay. So same basic principle there is, you try to take the least amount of damage from the ballista traps, get to the end of the jelly wall, and then just kind of spam your abilities to try to make it through as quickly as possible. Alright, it looks like there's no mobs in here. So that makes, well, there's a chicken, but that makes the time a little bit more possible to actually get through it on this, get through it within 1 minute and 23 seconds. Obviously I was talking about things and stopping as I was going, but pretty good castle. I mean, you have a couple of different kill zones that if someone makes one mistake in your castle, they'll probably die. I'm not sure if the first kill zone, I think you could like take out a few things and make it, I mean, I could even see taking out, since you have no mobs in your castle, I could see taking out your spike traps and just making those 2 big kill zones as good as possible. So make it so that you have maybe an extra jelly wall and a couple extra ballistas around the first one, and then also more fire mines towards the end, just in case they survive through it. Because there was only, 8 or so that might have been able to let a couple people survive that have higher hit points. I don't, but some people have, 3,000 to 4,000 hit points around this level. Knights especially. So you could do things like that, and improving those 2 kill zones so that if one person does make a small mistake, they will die, and you have 2 chances for someone to make a mistake to get through. But people will run your castle over and over again, most likely to at least get, the 2 to 3 stars on it. I didn't go for mines, or maybe I did and I just wasn't paying attention, but I can't get stars on practice attacks either way. But yeah, pretty good castle. This was number 3, so we're going to end the video here. As always, if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. If you want to be a part of your cast, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. I'm taking level 16 and above castles currently, so just shoot me an email and I will put you on the list. You can find the list down in the description. There's a little spreadsheet, or a link to a spreadsheet rather, that'll show kind of when people's castles come up. I update it like once a week, twice a week, somewhere in there. And I'm gonna try to do like 2 viewer castles a day on some days. Coming up when I have a little bit more time to record, because I am starting to get a little backed up now. That open beta came in and everybody's leveling up their castles to 16, so I'll try to get 2 out per day and see if I can catch up that way. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.